If you feel like a slug or a sloth could be your spirit animal lately, then you are definitely not alone. Motivation, 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 motivation. This is the conversation that I'm bringing to you all today. And if you're watching the video, you can see that I am kind of in a dim lit, wobbly, cozy candlelit space. I'm just cozied up, and I was like, haven't made my video yet for you all. And so here you go. We're talking about motivation and entrepreneurship today from this cozy candlelit video zone. And I'm thinking about slugs. I'm thinking about sloths. What is your spirit animal when it comes to motivation? Go ahead and post it in the comments below. Hello, everyone. It's so good to see you all here. Type in the comments below who you are, what you're up to in your entrepreneurial journey. I want to hear it. And I also want to hear what your entrepreneurial spirit animal is right now, not in general, because I know you all want to have it as like the phoenix or like the wolf or the like amazing butterfly. But if it's a slug or a sloth right now, then that's okay too, because you're not alone in it. I want to have this conversation because lately I've been feeling it too. I've been working, I've been an entrepreneur for like 30 years. I've been working on this current business of helping women with their businesses and their marketing, speak, producing large events, and all these things for about 15 years. And for the last couple months, I've just been like, What's happening?" And I feel like it might be a weather change thing. Oh, sloth is fitting for now for you. Yeah, I'm seeing some comments. It might be a temperature thing, it might be a weather thing, it might be a seasonal change thing, and I feel like bigger coming through the last couple of years. How many of you have come through the last couple of years and you feel different, or you feel like something is different, something different is arising in you and you don't yet know what it is. Maybe a different way to do your business, maybe a different way to bring your offerings to the world. Like, what is it that is arising for you in your business and in your offerings right now? How is it shifting and changing for you? How are you different now than you were a couple of years ago? And what's your motivation level like? Give yourself a score right now on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 being you are flatlined and you just don't have motivation to run your business. Oh, I see you writing in the comments here, lost your mom October 12th. I'm so sorry to hear that. And just can't seem to get your mojo back. Licensed massage therapist, nutritional counselor, and yes, Shakti vitamins and do tarot cards. I hear you so much. So my heart is just pouring out to you. I know what that's like. I lost a family member in the summer. And sometimes we don't give ourselves, especially when we're leaders and we're entrepreneurs, like we don't give ourselves the time to just be and to grieve and to feel. And we're in this paradigm of like, I have to produce, I have to create, I have to serve my clients, I have to be motivated. But meanwhile, we're in the grief of life and we're in the feeling of life. So when we're talking about motivation, I want to have this conversation. How do you how do you motivate yourself after a loss? And one of the pieces is maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should just allow ourselves to be and to feel for as long as it takes. It makes me think of a Trevor Hall song where he sings, "You can't rush your healing. You can't rush your healing." And in this world that we're in, I feel like a lot of us try to rush it and to push it, whether it's our businesses and our launches or our healing, whether it's our emotional healing or our physical healing. We're trying to push things that are not going to be pushed. And what would we say to our own clients? What would you say to your clients who you're helping in their healing? It's like, maybe we can't rush it. Maybe we just need to everybody take a deep breath and feel and allow ourselves to process, allow ourselves to grieve, allow ourselves to even, whether it's life that has given us things to grieve, or whether it's our own businesses where it's like, hey, that didn't turn out the way that I thought it would, or that didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to. And in our businesses, we have to be like, hey, that was traumatic. and it was a loss, and I have to feel it. I have to fully feel it. How many of you are in that kind of place right now? I know I have been. I've been in that place where I'm like, "Hey, I know I don't wanna do business and launching in the way that it has been done, in the way that I've even been doing it. It's like there has to be a new way." And I feel like for the last year, there's been something speaking to my heart and to my soul that is a new way, a new paradigm emerging. And it is very much tied in with motivation. That's why I'm coming to you here in this video from like this cozy little spot that I'm in, and the lights aren't very good, and that's okay because I was barely motivated to even make the video. And I was like, I open my computer. I don't want to make the video. I open up my streaming software, but I don't want to do it. I punch in some words. Oh, but maybe I shouldn't do it. Maybe I should go do something else. I press go live, and here I am, unmotivated. Does it matter? No, you just show up. It's kinda like if you wanna work out and exercise, it doesn't matter if you feel like it, just go do it. Because guess what happens? It's by doing it that the motivation happens. And you don't even have to have a plan. Like, we're in a discussion here, and I'm seeing all of your comments, and even those of you who are watching the replay, I love your comments because it is a conversation. So here we are, motivation. Allow yourself to feel how you feel fully. Allow yourself to grieve anything that didn't work in the past, and then just show up anyway. Show up unmotivated. Show up like messy. Show up without good lighting. Show up without preparation. Show up anyway. Isn't this what you would want for your clients too? For them to just show up for their healing and for their transformation? Type yes in the comments down below if you want your clients to just show up regardless. And if you're willing to show up even when you don't feel like it, even when you feel like so totally unmotivated, show up anyway, because waiting for motivation, it doesn't work that way. If you wait for motivation, you will just wait and wait and wait. It's like when a writer has writer's block, waiting for creativity, it doesn't work that way. Show up first. Show up feeling like, I don't feel like it. I'm cold. I want to be cozy. I want to go to sleep. And you're going to show up anyway. So, I'm seeing a comment here. It says, yes, I'm glad you're glad I did. I'm glad. And it's taken almost 30 days off to see family. So good. Off, like taking the time. I'm so glad you're off to go to Florida. Where are the rest of you? What are the rest of you doing? Like, what are you doing in your lives to give yourself the space and the time to be in that space of just like spaciousness and grieving? And then how are you bringing yourself to the table even when you don't feel motivated? So you don't have to have a plan. This is a conversation. Next thing I want to talk about is even though it's kind of contradictory and counterintuitive, I'm saying let's talk about motivation. Give yourself space, and like then what do? We show up anyway. Two things. Keep your eyes on a bigger vision. Like, what is something way out in front of you that's like, well, why do I want to make myself motivated? Because if you're trying to like force yourself to be motivated from kind of a top down perspective of like, let's do this, that's an old paradigm. That's a way that is not going to be sustainable. It's a way that might work for a moment, but it won't work for life. It's a way that might work for a minute, but it won't work for sustaining you moving forward. So rather than having it be like, I have to do this, be like, what is pulling me forward in a bigger vision? It's a model that feels more feminine and more expansive and more open. That here we are. What can I connect to that matters? How can I make it all matter no matter what? So what's your vision? Like what's your bigger thing that actually pulls you forward? Like for me, when I'm like, okay, I'm not motivated, don't want to do this, this sucks. And I get on anyway. Why do I do that? Oh, it's because I'm committed on a bigger level to being a leader and to being a leader who is also an entrepreneur. I create my own offerings. I create my own business. I always have. Never wanted to work for anybody else, but wanted it to be for me. But at the same time, it needs to bring income and it needs to bring clients in. So what's that bigger thing that pulls you forward, that has you show up even when you don't want to? It's like when you go to the gym. You put on your shoes and you get your butt there, even if you don't want to. Why? Because you have a commitment to your health, because you have a commitment to maybe being alive for your children. Maybe you have a commitment to avoiding health challenges, like something that pulls you forward. You're like, I totally don't want to do this, but I want to look really good in that dress. Or I want to be able to like lift heavy things and not have my back hurt. Like, what is your bigger motivation when it comes to your offerings in the world? What's your bigger motivation that pulls you forward even when you feel like, excuse me, it's cold out? I don't want to do it. Even when you feel like I'm tired, or even when those gremlin voices come up and say, who am I to do this? Who's going to listen to this? Why is anybody going to even watch this video when it's wobbly and it's dim in this room? When it when things come up that feel like they want to pull you down and not do the things, how can you show up and show up and show up anyway? It's tapping into that greater vision that you have, and one that comes from your heart in your way. It's not somebody else's vision. It's not somebody else's vision for you. It's not somebody else's thing that you think you should do, but it's yours from your sovereign soul in your way for yourself. Only yours, and only you can design it. It's Think of your business as it is your unique as a fingerprint or a thumbprint. Your business and the way that you design it is that way for you. So if you're feeling like, where's my motivation? Where is it? Where does it come from? It has to come from inside, and your vision and what you're going for has to be a unique imprint and a blueprint that is for you and you alone. So what is yours? Like, what is that soul star imprint that comes only to you, through you, that will continue to pull you forward no matter what? And how long have you been in business? For those of you who are watching the videos, like, post in the comments, how long have you been in business? And to me, that's a reflection of like the depth of this vision and commitment that you have. And that's going to pull you forward when it comes to motivation. It's like, it doesn't even have to be motivation there. Like, it'll continue to pull you through no matter what. So that's something that I'm thinking about. I want to hear from you. This is meant to be a conversation because I'm coming here saying, like, I don't know, haven't been feeling motivated lately. I'm so grateful that I have a business that's sustaining and that has clients, even when I don't feel motivated to launch. And then there's another piece. If you're not feeling motivated, look at what it is you're trying to do. Like, what do you think you're supposed to feel motivated about? And if you think you're supposed to feel motivated for something that isn't in alignment with your soul, maybe it's time to take a look at that. It's like, what is the new way? What is your unique imprint? What is your unique blueprint? What is your way that is going to actually feel really brilliant and good for you and that's going to pull you forward? Another thing that I think about when it comes to motivation is that sometimes if the project or if the vision, so we've got the vision, we need that. But sometimes if that vision is too big, it can make you feel overwhelmed. And then when you feel overwhelmed, you're like, hey, I don't feel like doing anything at all because the overwhelm gets so big. So what's yours like? How does that how does that play out for you? Do you actually feel like you try to take on too much and then you don't end up doing anything? That's sometimes what I do. Is like I have all these huge visions and I'm like, whoa, there's too much. I'm not going to do anything. Do you ever feel that way? Post in the comments down below. Um, if you ever feel that way. If your vision actually keeps you from attaining your vision because it feels too big and it gets you like, whoa, where do I even begin? And I want to talk about this too. Like, where do I even begin? Because that's big for motivation. One piece that I mentioned before, Show up anyway, show up regardless. But you need to show up to a bite-sized chunk. Show up for a piece that's small enough. So when it comes to having a vision and going for it and being motivated, it's like, well, we gotta we gotta do it in a way that feels like I can do that. It's doable. So break it down into bite-sized pieces. Meaning, if you've got a big project, like you want to write a book, you want to get featured on 100 podcasts, you want to design your signature program and have 75 people go through it. If you want those things, those are big chunks. How can you make those into tiny little pieces? A bite-sized chunk that you could get done this week by the end of the week. So break it down. You want to write a book? Maybe the first chunk is to decide on the topic, right? And you could break a book down into 100 topics. If you want to come up with a signature program and put 75 people through it, what is what does your signature program even do for people? Who is it for? Like break that down. Find out first what are the benefits of people running through your program so you know the marketing language you can begin to come up with and you know how to get it out there into the world. Because if it's too big, it's too much to do. So break it down into a mini piece and then what's one thing you can do this week that's going to take you like 5 to 10 minutes. Because here's something I know about creative, magical, spiritual entrepreneurs like you all, and how do I know this? Because I live it, is that our visions are so big and we're like, I'm going to do this big thing. We're like, yes, at the beginning of the week. And then by Thursday, we're like, what? Oh, I can't do that big thing. And then it perpetuates this cycle of like, well, I didn't do that thing. So I feel kind of crappy and the project is too big and I don't have help. And so I'm not going to do anything. And it perpetuates that. Who feels like that? Post in the comments below if you're watching the videos. So if you ever feel like that, okay, you're not alone. Break it down into a bite-sized piece that is 100% doable in 5 to 10 minutes because you have the ability to vision the big thing. It's breaking it down into a piece that's doable. And then here's the deal. When you have a doable chunk, a piece that you can get done in 5 to 10 minutes, guess what happens? It's the flip side of the coin to motivation, and that is momentum. If you do something that takes you 5 to 10 minutes and you complete that task, like you put a big old check mark by that task, guess how it feels? It feels amazing. You can take a breath. You're like, oh, I got something done. I checked something off my list. Wow. And then what it does is it puts momentum. It builds momentum. It puts the momentum on your motivation. And then your motivation, like a little fire gets lit under it. And you're like, oh, I did that piece. I think I can do another piece. And it's kind of like the workout example. If you just put on your shoes and exercise for 5 minutes today, guess what's going to happen? You're going to feel so good that you exercise for 5 minutes that you're probably going to double the time and exercise for 5 more minutes. And then you're going to feel so good. And then you're probably going to do it tomorrow because you're like, oh, that was totally doable. I exercised for 10 minutes. Same thing in your business. I did a task, a bite-sized task. I reached out to that person. I created a title. I made my list. I did something and it took 10 minutes and I did that thing. And then suddenly you've got momentum underneath you. And next thing you know, you worked on something for 20 minutes. Rather than scrolling social media for 20 minutes, you actually worked on your business. It was just 20 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, like little bite-sized chunks. And then you can do that again tomorrow. And you can do that again tomorrow. And you can do that like I do 4 days a week. I don't work 7 days a week. I used to when I was a workaholic. Okay, I got to take this moment to to call myself out. I'm a recovering workaholic. I'll probably always be a workaholic. I have to put really healthy boundaries around my work. That's a total side tangent, everyone. I could do a separate video on that. I work 4 days a week. Okay, where was I? You did 20 minutes, 4 days a week on this project. Guess what's going to happen? 20 minutes, 4 days a week, and you feel good about it and the momentum, and it's starting to roll. And if you do that every week and you do that every month, You've got projects that are completing. You've got clients that are coming in. You've got a list that's building, an audience that is beginning to follow you because you are putting the energy in and the consistency in, and it's building and it's growing and it's changing. Change happens one brick at a time, one step at a time, one tiny little business workout at a time. It is not because you suddenly got yourself motivated and you worked for 5 hours and then you didn't do it again for a month. No, it's I got a I got a dim lit video on a wobbly platform. I showed up, and between the start of this video and now, I'm like, oh, actually, I feel like I could go do something. I feel like I could go do a part of a project that I'm working on. And how beautiful is that? So I made this video so that you would know you can show up however you are and that can begin to just work with your motivation. Just poke at it. A colleague of mine challenged me to just like make a video about motivation because I was like, I don't know, I'm not feeling motivated. Like, and she was like, okay, go make a video about that. And I was like, no, it's not what I want to do because I want to show up to you all and be like, I'm motivated. It's awesome. And I'm like, not motivated. But now, at the end of this, just poking at this topic of motivation, I'm realizing, okay, here's where momentum comes from. I'm sharing with you all, which is one of my clients was talking about this today in a mastermind that I lead. She was saying that when we serve others, it's actually what fills us up. Isn't that beautiful? It's actually what creates our own wellness and our own motivation and our own ecosystem being healthy when we are actually serving others. And that's an important part of our how we show up in the world. And so for all of you, you're entrepreneurs, like you're spiritual and wellness entrepreneurs. So part of what you do is showing up, and serving is how you actually how your business functions, how your heart and soul functions. So what if you were to just show up for your clients and your customers in a way that's kind of like messy, imperfect, wobbly, dimly lit? What if you just show up and it turns out that you've helped somebody else and at the same time you've helped yourself? And that's how it works. We're not separate. We are moving forward and helping each other because of the connections that we have. And you're helping yourself because you're showing up. So, motivation. One, here's what rose out of today's topic. Just be with what has happened to you, grieve it, rest if you need to, connect with something bigger vision, break it down into tiny, tiny, teeny tiny pieces so that they are doable for you, and show up regardless of how you feel, regardless of the stories that you're telling yourself. Show up anyway, and magic is going to happen. It's going to happen every time. Keep showing up. Keep working on your business. Keep getting the word out there. Keep getting your work and your message out there to people. It's needed. I promise you it's needed. If you wonder if it's needed, there are billions of people on this planet. There are hundreds of thousands of people who need your work, and you just need to be able to reach like 5 or 10 of them to get your client base rolling. That's it. Tiny, 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 simple steps. So keep doing it, because when you do, we make this world a better place together. I'll see you on the next video, everyone, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.